Hey everyone, Mike here from MLive.com, joined by Justin Rogers, bringing you a totally normal, nothing out of place video. It's just another Thursday, Justin.
Just another Thursday.
No, Merry Christmas, everyone. We are stuck at work, and so we thought we'd have some fun with it, obviously. Lions practice today as well, Justin, and going into this game against the Packers, no one's given them a shot. I don't think we are either. I think we're both taking the Packers in this game. But at the same time, this isn't the same Lions team that's lost the past 23 games in Wisconsin. If you had to pick something of why the Lions could win this game, what would it be?
I think it's the obvious one. Defense travels, and the Lions have a very good defense. You know, I look at where the Packers have struggled this year. They were beaten by Detroit, they were beaten by Seattle, they were beaten by Buffalo. Those three games against the three best defenses in the NFL, all three limited Aaron Rodgers, and all three of those games were on the road. You know, Aaron Rodgers is remarkable. He's much better at home, but if you are going to beat the Packers, it's going to be with great defense, great pass rush, and the Lions possess that home and away.
Something they haven't had. I mean, they've been a team in the past that was based on offense, and when you go into Lambeau, especially late in the season, it does funny things to an offense, and obviously I think a defense stands up better when temperatures are in the 20s, as they'll be on Sunday, and with the wind chill could drop into the teens or even into the single digits with that wind going. It's a 4:30 start, so I think having the defense is the biggest difference. It's kind of obvious, but this just isn't how the Lions have played games in the past. It's always been about Barry, and then after that it was Calvin, and you draft Stafford and all these guys. It's been about the offense, and now they've got this number 2 ranked defense, and I mean, we saw it already in week 3, and I think the Packers are better since then, but we've already seen this Lions defense. It does have the players capable of stopping the Packers offense. I think it starts with the rush defense. I mean, they're able to contain Lacey, they're able to contain Rodgers and what he does on the ground. So it gives them an opportunity to make the Packers one-dimensional, even with a 4-man front, which is what we saw in week 3. And I think it does give the Lions a chance to win this game.
You mentioned the Packers are better since week 3, and it is Lacey. Lacey has been on a roll as of late, and that's a guy that on a roll going downhill is tough to bring down. He's averaging in the ballpark of 6 yards per carry over the last 6 games, and that sets up everything for them. It sets up the play action for Rodgers. Once your linebackers have to commit, it just opens up the middle of the field. So Lions rush defense has been nearly flawless this year, and they need that to continue. They need to shut down Lacey early, often force the Packers to go with it. You could drop more in coverage, cloud Aaron Rodgers' passing lanes, and maybe end this interceptionless streak at Lambeau that's gone 13 games and 396 passes. I mean, I talked to Kellen Moore and Matthew Stafford about it today, and they were just in awe. It's such a ridiculous streak. It's the longest of its kind in NFL history.
You said the Lions' rush defense is nearly flawless. They're nearly historic at this point.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen, but if the Lions were to limit the Packers to 13 rushing yards, they'd match the NFL record for rushing yards allowed in the season. So that just puts it into context about how good the Lions have been in terms of the rush defense. And I do think, you look at the surge that the Packers have gone on through the midseason here and into the late season, they're one of 2 teams averaging more than 30 points a game. It's pretty incredible what they can do offensively, and it has hinged a lot on Lacey's emergence. Lions obviously have a defense to shut him down. That's if you're asking me why do I think the Lions could win this game, well, I would say I don't think the Lions are going to win this game, but they could, given the defense they have, and especially up front stopping the run. They're merciless.
And if you do want to flip it to the other side, obviously the Packers' defense has also been playing better. But I do look at that Monday night game from a couple weeks ago against Atlanta, where Julio Jones had something like 7,000 receiving yards in the second half. I believe the Falcons put up 30 points on the Packers. And, end of the day, even though they haven't exploded, I think, the way we always expect them to, Calvin Johnson and Golden Tate are still one of the best tandems in football. The Packers' secondary is inconsistent. As long as the offensive line can hold up, and that's a big if, against a pretty good Packers pass rush, and then the Lions should be able to put some points on the board and really, attack that secondary.
Big if, considering you're starting 2 rookies up front, Cornelius Lucas and now Travis Swanson. Swanson had some exchange issues. Anyone who watched the Lions in the preseason would have seen that. It was throughout training camp especially, Swanson did. But he and some of the players have said, Dan Orlovsky's worked a lot with them throughout the season, the backup quarterback. Orlovsky's talked a lot about Travis Swanson, how much better he is since we last saw him playing center extensively. Hasn't put a ball on the ground apparently in the past 4 months. So I think that's encouraging that he can step in there and at least be serviceable, even if he's not Dominic Raiola.
The most interesting thing about Swanson to me is his lack of experience in cold weather games. It sounds really silly, but this is a guy that's going to be touching the ball every offensive play. He's going to have to snap it. He said he's got to keep his hands warm, but the coldest game he ever played was his freshman year at Arkansas against East Carolina in a bowl game, and the temperature there was, I believe, 25, 28 degrees. So similar, but it's probably going to be even colder in Green Bay. It's going to be a different experience for him, and he's got to be able to get over that mental hurdle to play his best physical game.
That's what we got. The Lions have one more practice day on Friday before heading to Wisconsin on Saturday for that big showdown on Sunday against the Packers. We'll be in Green Bay to follow it, so keep it here at MLive. For Justin Rogers, I'm Kyle Meinke. We are MLive. Keep it right here.